My 9/11 story, I remember I was working for BMW on the night shift. I was exhausted. Just came home, showered, jumped straight in bed. And, but I always turned on the news. I had TV on. So I'm kind of, in and out. And I just got a glimpse of the TV and the news reporters was kind of in a panic. It was just different. Something about it was just different. Even in my sleepiness, I could tell. So I kind of wake up. I'm trying to bring it on into focus and figure out what is happening. By that time, the phone rings. Miss my mom. She said, "You awake? Are you watching the news?" I said, "What's it? Planes crashed into the towers in New York." I said, "What?" Stayed on the phone for hours just watching the reports, just seeing everybody kind of like in a panic. And I remember feeling afraid. I remember feeling like, is it going to be more? Is this war? What's happening? What's going on? Just not knowing, is this it? Is something? Is it going to keep going on? You can hear all the, even here in Greenville, there were helicopters and stuff in the skies. You could just hear all types of, there was like military type choppers that was up there. And you just don't know. You don't know. Are they telling us everything? Are we under attack? You just don't know. And just to see everybody just coming out, people coming out of their doors, having conversations in the streets, just trying to come together. But the other thing that I do remember after that day was how, and it was beautiful in a sense, it was beautiful how America came together. And that's what I will not ever forget, that we are capable of coming together, uniting, really living up to what the United States really means. And it was the day that I'll never forget because, yeah, things were happening, but to see the people in the unity, that's it.
9/11 happened on a Monday. I had taken that day off, actually, for that weekend, and I went out to play in a golf tournament that was a memorial for a friend of mine. The golf course was on a place called Indian Lake, which is in Shanksville, Pennsylvania. Flight 93, I was walking the course alone, private course, but I was walking alone, and I heard the explosion. The plane crashed about 3/4 of a mile from where I was standing at the time. Now, that part of Pennsylvania is a mining area, and they would do strip mining. So hearing an explosion wasn't really very unusual. In a few minutes after the explosion, all this stuff started falling out of the air. And it was the airplane, parts of the airplane was falling on the golf course. Now it was, and there's this great silence. I still didn't know what happened. And as I walked back, it's a front nine, back nine. So as I was walking past the clubhouse, the guys in there kind of waved at me to call me in and tell me there was something going on. So I had left New York City, and my daughter knew where I was, and she knew where the golf course was. So I found out what happened and tried to call my daughter, but you couldn't get through because there was no cell service at that point. So it was, now ironically, I had left my office, which was in Midtown Manhattan, and all of my associates watched from their window. They watched the planes crash into the World Trade Center. And I'm thankful that I wasn't in New York. I didn't have that firsthand visual of what happened. But the fact that I was so close to what happened in Pennsylvania was, well, it's an indelible memory for me. That's my 9/11 story.
9/11 happened. I was at home that day from work, and my husband came in. I was in bed. He says, something's going on in New York. I have family there. So by the time I came into the den, the second plane was hitting the other tower. And I just dropped to my knees at that time because I knew I had family that worked in the city and I was trying to contact them. I couldn't get anyone. So finally I got a cousin husband. I had his cell phone. He said he was home because he had to carry his car to the shop. But my cousin had gone to work in the city. Did not find out if she was okay until later that afternoon. But I remember that day very, 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 very upsetting to me.